Just thankful for everything. The house went more smoothly than I could have expected. We didn't have to go through a lot of, what do you call it? The looky-loos. We
Yeah,
didn't have
yeah,
the
yeah.
back and forth. It was a
Right.
very easy.
I think we got lucky with the buyer as well. Like the
Oh
back and
yeah.
forth
Oh, definitely. Remember, they might have taken their time towards the end for what it
yeah,
was really no sweat. The only people I would have worried about is Cheryl and Richie. They're
correct.
fine. They're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
All is good. So now, what do you? Cheryl wrote.
So I wanted to ask you a few questions just to
Okay.
like somebody that might be in your shoes, you maybe
Uh-huh.
give you some insight now that you're on that end of things.
Uh-huh.
So obviously you took the lead for your siblings. There's obviously five of you guys.
Yeah.
Any pointers on how to navigate this whole process while still keeping everybody engaged and in their best interest at heart, and yet obviously you have to deal with five different person or four different personalities. Like somebody that's in your shoes, any pointers like how you went about it?
Yes. And I've heard of nightmares. I've heard of nightmares, and I'm so thankful that this was smooth. My siblings. The thing is, trust. And because I am the oldest, my
Right,
siblings gave me zero pushback on. We had a little bit of conversation about whether we wanted to sell, me to represent and sell through the court
correct.
versus having the court issue our individual deeds, titles. Then we try to sell it on our own,
Yeah,
which I really lobbied against that. My other siblings followed me. Richie had a little pushback because Richie and Cheryl were anxious about what would happen to them in the process. And I
and that was
think,
valid. I
yes,
mean,
valid. They were misinformed because Payam, our attorney, had to tell Richie his concerns were baseless. Richie got into the conspiracy theory. The court's going to hold on to our money for 6 months.
mm,
The court, whatever it is, Richie was just concerned that allowing the process of what we just went through, that it
mhm,
wasn't. I'm sure he's surprised because he just thought it was
yeah,
going to be nightmarish. My concern was if we had done it the other way, where the shares were titles were in each individual name. Obviously, that opens it up for problems if certain siblings were not on the same page. So
right.
this way, it was at least 3-2, which we still majority rules, but I did not want it to go that way. I gave Richie and Cheryl an opportunity to think about it. And then once they processed, I didn't push. They processed, they eventually came back and agreed. So we were all unanimous at the end to
Yeah,
go with, to allow you to sell the way the option we followed the selling it the way we sold with you versus let's just wait and see, let the shares, let the title come into each five different names and we decide later. I was really not going to go through that because and then I know what I did. I'm foregoing my so I had a little leverage. I told them that I was sacrificing my share of the
yeah. The
executive.
compensation or
Yeah.
executive compensation. Yeah, yeah.
And which is
Which is a
about
lot.
15.
Yeah, yeah. It could be
And I
close to
said
20.
20. I said I'm sacrificing that. And this will make my job easier if we do it this way. What could they say? Oh, that
Right,
money talks. So what could they say? Like, oh, you're right. So you got to trust me. I don't have to do that.
right.
Um, that helped, but I know most people would not sacrifice that. But it to me, it's more important to keep relationships intact and that there's no
Yeah,
resentment. Everyone is happy at the end.
yeah.
It's an emotional time because Richie never moved out of that house. He lived with my parents until the day they both passed,
Mhm,
and until the day that we sold the house. Richie had
yeah.
never moved out, so he had a deeper connection to the house. Cheryl came as a to help with caregiving because I'm so far in Diamond Bar, but I was the
Right.
main caregiver for my dad. And while they were all living life, then I was mostly my dad's caregiver. And then he came to live with me. So, it just, it all worked out. Everyone, we're all feeling good about it. It's
That's good.
done. The escrow closed, it took an extra week. There was a little bit of nervousness, but I assured them that we're communicating, which is great. Your communication For me, I didn't have to reach out to you and say what's going on. You anticipated, you kept us informed. So you kept me calm because I have anxiety. And I was able to let my siblings know, every step of the way. Escrow,
Yeah,
they have the loan docs. They'll be signed tomorrow. And every time you
yeah,
said something, it
yeah,
pretty much was on track. So there was zero. It was just a very easy. Blessed that it was easy. Everyone's happy. We're just anticipating that that Pine can get this, or the courts will handle this sooner than later.
yeah.
So
One of the things you did that I really appreciated was that you did you whenever we had like about something important that
Mhm,
we got all of them on the same like on one of these Zooms, and I thought that was a key thing in the beginning because I noticed some executors will just have a line of communication with me and then they'll go and communicate. But I think as a collective, I think it made it easier for everybody to say their piece. I know there are probably conversations on the back end, but it
mhm,
was really nice that okay, and you would prompt them, "Hey, is there any questions you have right now?" While we have Philip here, and I think that was helpful. Even like with because I know that Richie did have some pushback,
mhm.
so it was a
Yeah.
good place for Richie to kind of speak his mind and sort of give him a platform for him to say, okay, you know what, I'm a little concerned about this or that. But the fact that it was all as a collective, I think that was one of the things I felt like you made them feel like they were part of it. You weren't just saying, "Hey, we're gonna do this." You were always constantly like, "This is what we're thinking, but what do you guys think?"
And that is probably the best way to go. But because with five people having five different opinions, it could. I don't know if what your past experience is.
Yeah,
Everyone has an opinion. My siblings, because I'm the oldest, they've always trust me, and so I'm thankful for that.
right,
Because one holdout really. Oh, I was the executor. In my mind, I did not want to go. I wanted all of us to be on the same page. Nothing was going to move forward had we not all agreed. And so it was important for me for everyone to feel comfortable and involved and their voice heard, because like you said, then you have voices in the background and sidebars, and then it's two against two, and then there's got to be a tiebreaker or whatever on the executor. Even though the executor makes the decisions, it's
right,
still, it was important for me that I did not move until we all moved together. And I said that from the start. I'm not making any decisions unless we are all on board, and you guys will be a part of every piece of conversation, even with Payam, our attorney. It would be funny trying to connect with five, well, you were involved trying to connect with five different people in Zoom calls and
yeah,
Texas time change,
yeah,
the
yeah,
time difference. But I think if families can all communicate and be involved as one, it makes it better. But then you're going to have people with their own opinions and pushback, and because Richie had a kind of a heated uh, conversation where Pine had to say, no, that's baseless, and that's not. I assure you, that's not wherever you're getting information from. That's not how it goes. Richie doesn't know. He's never purchased property. So he had his theories. So you're going to have that, but those calmed down, and he trusted the process. So and I think the anxiety of leaving for Richie was different than most. Most people don't have that attachment. It's our childhood home, but we've moved on. Whereas for
right,
Richie, that was his only home.
right, yeah,
That's unique. I don't
yeah,
know that you're going to experience that, but
yeah.
again, Phil, our relationships are intact. Everyone's happy.
Love it.
They're really going to be happy. I'm hoping that this process with the courts will take the full 6 weeks or 8 weeks. But well, it is what it is. You can't control it.
Yeah,
It's out of
yeah,
our hands. But the money is in the account, and no, Payam doesn't get paid until the court
correct.
authorizes me to make payment. Right. So
Yes.
it behooves him to speed the
Oh
process
yeah.
along.
Well, he must be. He's also probably happy that we are where we are as well.
And
Because
3 years later, it's
wow.
3 years. 3 years. My mom passed
Yeah.
of was it 2020? Two, four, no, 23, 4, 5, 6, and
Three.
2022, my mom passed. It's been a
Yeah.
long 3 But
Yeah.
that's they were no there was no, my parents took care of their business. It was easy. No liens, no creditors,
Yeah.
everything, and the reimbursements are nominal. Richie rented that could be a hardship for some people to have to come out of pocket with certain expenses, like the
Right.
hauling, the cleaning, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone doesn't necessarily just have a savings where they can go in and
Sure.
pull out, or first and last month's rent to move, to
Yep.
relocate. So we all had to work with each other and help each other so that Cheryl could get out on her own, because she didn't want to come here. And actually it worked out because our house flooded. So it worked out that she found an apartment.
Nice.
But God is good.
Yeah. God is great.
And your communication is great, professional. This is my fifth property, years of my buying and selling properties. This is a very, and I've had wonderful realtors. They're all retired now because,
Hmm.
I've been doing this almost, it's 30 years now. So they're my past
Yeah.
realtors. But
Yeah.
so I've had wonderful experiences.
That's
But this is
awesome.
my first with five people.
That's good. Now, what do you think stood out to you, that if you were to recommend somebody why they would use our services? Like, was there anything specifically that stood out based
Oh,
on your
personal
experience?
communication. You were on top of was a glitch, a little time delay. You handled that. You made it so that I didn't have to worry. I totally trusted the process.
Awesome.
Never having never met you or no
Yeah.
referrals. I
Right.
think I think you found us. How did you find us? I guess it's public
Yeah.
notice that our house
Correct.
is being sold or it's in
Know
probate.
that the when you become the executor, we get a notification.
Oh, okay. But oh my gosh, I had
Yeah.
dozens and dozens of
Yeah.
calls, and
Yeah.
then I just said, "Look, we found a realtor, and it's gonna it because this has been 3 years going, coming. So
Yeah.
people have been calling. So I
Yeah.
guess the calls have stopped because now it's already listed as sold.
Correct.
Yeah. So, but my only anxiety was I didn't want the you said that it had to go public, and I didn't want the looky loose.
Right.
You handled that. We
Yeah.
did it didn't come to that, but you assured
Yeah.
us that again, I just
So
your communication, and you're persistent, and
yeah.
you reassuring, and you handled your business
Yeah.
professional.
No, that was good. I do recall that you did, that was one of the, you know, I don't want it to be an open house to the public. I want it to be specifically for people that not only have are interested in the house, but have the wherewithal to be able to buy the house. And we did it over a weekend. We had, I think, eight, nine people, or I don't remember exactly the number. And they were exactly the type of people we were looking for the
It was
property.
perfect because
Yeah.
we remember we had one the day we first met you. We met with two investors, and
Yes.
they lowballed 550.
Wow. Wow.
Know who that
That's
was? That
almost
was
200,000 less than where we landed.
yeah. They were never going to go with that. They
Oh
lowballed
yeah.
550 and 600.
Yeah.
That was to be expected. I could see desperate people, um, opting for that, but we had already waited 3 years.
Yeah.
No one was pressuring. Cheryl, the house was paid for, so the only thing Richie and Cheryl
Yeah.
took care of was the property taxes while they lived there and
Yeah.
utilities. It was an ideal situation, as I
Awesome.
said,
Yeah.
smooth.
Good. I
You
love
know,
it. This is like music to my ears. I'm so grateful. And you know what? I'm gonna, and I know I've shared this with you, but Cheryl, Richie were so kind to me when I was there. Whenever because I know that sometimes I would have to bother them to get some things done, and they were always so. Uh, they never gave me any pushback. They were always like, "Yeah, come on, let's do what we got to do." And I think that was such a key factor to make the whole thing work. Like, so even in that regard, we got really lucky because sometimes siblings give you a hard time, and
well,
it's
because they're resentful of the process and they're not ready.
right.
They had 3 years to, process.
Yeah.
That's not very common. Is that pretty? Is
No,
that
not 3 years. Usually it's a little less than that, a lot less than that. That's good. I think that was, I
it
like you
gave
said,
them enough time, and then none
correct.
of the other siblings were really pressured
And
for.
and they didn't feel like, they didn't feel like you were pushing them off. to move. There was no like, oh, we have to do this. I think you did it it worked out in a way that at least even like I spoke to Cheryl a couple of days ago when I got the keys, and she was like, they're a lot better than I thought it would. So I'm just so
Mm-hmm.
grateful for her. So yeah, Laura, I from the bottom of my heart, I'm very grateful that you gave me this opportunity. My team is grateful, and although I'm in the probate space, I'm also just a broker. So if I ever can help you with anything else, just know that I'm always here to help. Okay.
Oh, a question.
Sure.
Are you able to lend your services to if Richie were to
Yeah. Well, I'm
in
not in
Texas?
Texas, but I am with Keller Williams. Our main hub is in Texas, so we have I have referrals everywhere in the
Okay.
country, and I
Oh,
can vet
good.
out somebody that would be a good match for him.
Okay. Well, I'll remind Richie of that too, that
Yeah.
when he does get ready
Sure.
to find something and where and then we can we'll put him remind him that you have connections and that since we've
Okay.
already worked together and he knows how you know
Yeah.
how you handle your business. But no,
Yeah.
so I'm glad I could be of help.
Thank you.
Just wanted to take a minute, have some coffee. I'm leaving out of town, I said, for a conference, and then we have construction Monday. So I was
Okay.
just packing, and the funny thing is, when we got back from South America on Tuesday, Wednesday, we're in the hotel. I had not even unpacked from our 2 week trip. So I unpacked today from 2 weeks ago. So I'm kind of feeling like I'm getting myself back together. And then I
Yes.
wanted to talk to you and have closure with this deal. The
Yeah.
money's in the account today.
Love it.
And then now I'll just wait for our attorney to do and the courts